In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the inner tie rod ends on this Volkswagen TDI Jetta Wagon. These are going to be located behind the front wheels. Let's get into it. In the back, we're going to pull this cover up. And then there's a cover underneath here. You want to pull that up as well. And you want to find the tool kit that comes with your vehicle for the spare tire. And you're looking for this hook or a hook that looks very similar to that. Grab that. We're going to remove these caps. Use that pick. Just get underneath the cap, pull those out. Just like that. Now we're going to remove the lug bolts. Use a 17mm socket. Before I take the last one out, I'm just going to hold the wheel on just so it doesn't fall. Grab the wheel and pull it off. Loosen up the jam nut. Use a 24mm wrench. Loosen that up. All right, that's loose. Ours is pretty rusty, so we're just going to clean this up with a wire brush. If yours is rusty, then you might want to do the same. That's good. I'm just going to use a little rust penetrant just to help. Again, this is optional. Now I'm going to use a pry bar and just pry down on the tie rod end while I take this bolt out. Use a 18mm socket. Pull that off. Now you can tap this with a hammer, try to get that out, or use a front end tool. There's many different types. Just some type of a puller. And tighten this up. Separate the tie rod end from the knuckle. Go. Pop that up, out of the way. Now I'm going to use some locking pliers on the inner tie rod end. And use some pliers to take the outer tie rod end off. And while you're taking this off, you want to count the threads. So that was 1. That's 2. 3, 19, 20, 21. Write that number down somewhere. Now I'll take this nut off, use a 24mm socket. Take that off. I'm going to remove the locking pliers. I'm going to remove the hose clamp, just use some hose clamp pliers. Pull that off. Now there's a clamp on the inside of the boot. We're going to use a long straight pick and just loosen up the clamp. Give it a tap with a hammer. You just want to stretch this out. Sometimes you can reuse these if you want to, but it's hard to get the tool in there. And just grab the boot and just pull it off. And just grab the boot. We'll slide it off the inner tie rod end, and it comes right off. Now we're going to use a inner tie rod tool. We're going to go over the inner tie rod. This one just clamps on. There's many different types. Let's tighten this down. All right, that's tight. I'm going to take some locking pliers and just attach this to the steering shaft. that goes into the steering rack as close to the tie rod as possible. It's just going to help prevent any damage to the rack when you go to loosen this. Now we'll go ahead and loosen this up. There we go. Once that's loose, we can take the tool off because you're going to be able to do this by hand. Right, now take the tool off. And just twist this out by hand. And there it is. Now take the new tie rod end, get that started. All right, that's tightened down. Now we're going to put the tie rod tool on. Tighten that down. All right, that's on there. Now we're going to torque that to 73 foot-pounds. Just hold the locking pliers while you do that. That's good. Let me just tighten this a little more. That's good. You can take the locking pliers off, remove those, and remove the inner tie rod tool. And pull that off. Now I take the bellow boot. Instead of using the old clamp, we're going to use a wire tie. Just get that started. Just like that, you want to leave that loose. And take a little bit of grease and just put it on this part right here. Just where the boot is going to sit. You can use some silicone grease if you want. That works. And I take the bellow boot. I'll slide it over, push it on. All right, that's all the way around on the rack. You can pull the boot out a little bit. So we can get the wire tie in place. Once it's going all the way around, you want to just tighten that up. That's on. The boot's in the right spot. Now I'm just going to use some needle nose pliers just to tighten this wire tie up a little bit. Just twist that. It's going to make it tight. All right, that's on there good. Just give it one more. I like that. And I'll use some straight cutters and just trim that. Trim the excess. There we go. That's good. Now I take the clamp on the outside. And just get this over. Get that lined up. That looks good. Now I take the jam nut. The jam nut started. And just put that right about there. Not all the way down, but pretty close. Now I'll take some locking pliers for the inner tie rod end. Right there. Take the outer tie rod end, and you're going to count the threads. Remember the threads that you wrote down, that number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 21. So we got 21. Get this lined up. You can take the locking pliers off. Put the nut on. Using a pry bar, pry down on this, and I'm going to snug this up with the 19mm socket. Now torque this nut to 15 foot-pounds, and then you want to go an additional 90 degrees. If you don't have a torque angle meter, do the best you can. That's good. Tighten up the jam nut. And you want to snug that up. Snug that up. If you have the ability to torque that, you want to torque that to 53 foot-pounds. Take the wheel, get that lined up. Line it up with the holes. Take one of the lug bolts, get that started. Snug that down and get the other ones. Snug those down. Now we're going to torque the lug bolts to 98 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Just go around again, double check. And take the caps and put the caps on. After finishing this installation, it's important to have an alignment done on your vehicle. After you're done, you want to put the hook back, go back to your spare tire, find the toolkit, and install it in the toolkit.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.